What up, YouTube? Here with a post-fight review video for Ryan Garcia versus Emmanuel Tagoe. You already know the results. Ryan Garcia won via unanimous decision in a convincing fashion. Um, I I gave the fight to Ryan Garcia a 12 zip on my scorecard. One of the judges had it 10-2, while two other judges had it 11-1 in favor of Ryan Garcia. That goes to show you it was one-sided from the beginning of the fight. Emmanuel Tagoe was in survival mode. He had his back against the ropes the whole time, moving laterally on backpedal mode, was in his shell throughout the whole fight. Anytime he threw, he would get, answer back with Ryan Garcia's onslaughts, and it was too much for Tagoe to handle. And Tagoe, he's a I wouldn't say awkward fighter, but he's got a different style of fighting. He's a decent counter puncher, and anytime you try and counter Ryan Garcia's onslaught, Ryan Garcia would hit him back with more aggressive punches, and I think that's what Ryan Garcia wanted. Cause like I said, he was fighting like Joshua Clottey when he fought Manny Pacquiao, was in his shell the whole time. And when he would counter Ryan Garcia's onslaught, like he would try and put in his counters in midst of while Ryan Garcia's punching. He would catch Ryan Garcia here and there, but I think that just fueled Ryan Garcia's fire, and Ryan Garcia would answer back more aggressively and show superiority when it came to the hand speed, and it was just too much for Tagoe to handle. Um, Tagoe, he had his little moments in the fight. I think anytime he found success in the fight, it was at round 6, 7, and 10, and it was very short lived. Because like I said, Ryan Garcia, would answer back with offense that was too much for him. And in round 10, he almost got dropped again. And then I say again because Ryan Garcia dropped Tagoe in the second round with a right hook. It was more of a flash knockdown than a severe knockdown. Tagoe got back up, was back in his shell. He was campaigning with the ref. He looked frustrated with the ref. Arguing with him that it was a push when it was really a punch. But like I said, it wasn't one of them crazy knockdowns. It wasn't that. But in the 10th round, he almost got dropped again. Because, like I said, in the 10th round, in the beginning of the 10th round, he was getting low momentum, countering Ryan Garcia's onslaught with, those slick counters that he put in between Ryan Garcia's combos. But then Ryan Garcia would answer back with a overhand right hand that caught him right on the chin, and that startled him. And after that, Tagoe was in survival mode and was hanging on throughout the whole round. Um, yeah, that's basically how the fight went. That's the summary of the fight. Moving along, let's talk about Ryan Garcia and what could be next in his future. And this is the idea that I'm pitching, and this is what I want to see Ryan Garcia do for his next fight. He's been inactive for some time. I think both fighters been inactive for like 16 months or something like that. As y'all know, Ryan Garcia in his last fight, he stopped Luke Campbell. Overcame adversity where he faced the canvas and he got back up and won a TKO. And retained his WBC interim lightweight title. Now I don't know if he still holds that title because he's been inactive for so long, and I don't even know if this fight was for the WBC interim lightweight title. But that title means that he is next in line to face the WBC lightweight champion Devin Haney. But like I said, I don't know if he still holds that title. And as y'all already know, Devin Haney in June, he's going to be putting his belt on the line against the other lightweight champion who holds majority of the lightweight titles, all the lightweight titles outside of Devin Haney's title, George Gambosis. And that undisputed title fight, can't wait for it. That's one of, if not the biggest fight on the calendar for this year. And I'm loving the fact that boxing is having often undisputed title fights, because ever since the four belt era was introduced to the sport, the politics has been, kind of crazy, and it's been, dragging the sport's name under the dirt for a little minute now. and having these undisputed title fights happen as frequently as it's been happening, it's only healthy for the sport, and it's a great thing that fights like these are being made. And um, yeah, that title, that undisputed lightweight title fight, with the lightweight division being the hottest division in the sport right now, it's only up from here for the 135-pound division, and that is where Ryan Garcia fights, and that's where another household name fights, and that's Gervonta Davis. I think if Devin Haney and George Gambosis is making that undisputed title fight happen, I think the other two most recognizable lightweights in the division right now should get in there if the two champions are gonna battle for the undisputed crown. And to be quite honest with y'all, I think speaking from, like, let's say for the casuals and for the mainstream media, I think Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis are more recognizable names than Devin Haney and George Gambosis. Let's be real now. I think that fight could draw more, and I think that would be a huge pay-per-view fight right there. And they've been talking shit to each other. Like y'all saw when Ryan Garcia was on the Mike Tyson podcast show, they had Gervonta on FaceTime, and they were shooting the shit at each other. And I think, I don't think, talking shit and not getting in the ring, I think that's some bullshit. Like, especially if they fight at the same weight class, and they're both in the same profession. I think them two getting in the ring has to happen. Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis, and not to knock their accomplishments, because I just big their name up, saying they are bigger draws than the champions at 135. Not to knock their accomplishments, but all the titles that they've won, Gervonta Davis, I'm speaking from ever since he moved up from 130, all the titles he won at 135 and at 140 when he beat Mario Barrios, those were paper titles. 140, all the titles are held by one man up there, and that's Josh Taylor. And I already named y'all the champions at 135. So I think, the two most notable names at 135, who are not champions at that division, should get in there, with the winner facing the winner of the undisputed title fight. I think that's what makes the most sense, and I think that's what all the fans want to see. I know if you're on Team Ryan Garcia, if you're working with his camp, let's say you're a part of his promotional team, or working with him and Joe Goosen in their camp, they're not going to want to campaign for that fight with Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis, is a dangerous fighter. And he definitely isn't going to be punch shot like Tagoe, and he definitely hits harder than Luke Campbell. So that's going to be a dangerous fight for Ryan Garcia, and Ryan Garcia is going to be a dangerous fight for Gervonta Davis as well, but that is a threatening fight for Ryan Garcia to take. Gervonta's been more, active than Ryan Garcia, and for them to, get in the ring this early, I'm sure the promotional team is going to want to, utilize Ryan Garcia's hype to, have him fight more tomato cancer, make him more marketable. But I think him digressing and him, stepping down the ladder instead of climbing up to the top ranks, I think that's, not a good look as far as, him coming up in his career to become, one of the pound for pound kings. And I think, Ryan Garcia has a potential to do that, for sure. But he was supposed to get in there with, they say, Isaac Cruz, who gave up a great fight versus Gervonta Davis, in which where a lot of people thought that he could have either won, but he definitely made a lot of fans out of that fight versus Gervonta Davis. And he's fighting on the undercards tomorrow for Errol Spence and Ugas. He's fighting Yuriorkis Gamboa. But, Isaac Cruz and their camp said, Golden Boy and Ryan Garcia's camp didn't even offer the fight to Isaac Cruz. But that would be a dangerous fight. I don't think he wants that. And if he loses, let's say, to a Isaac Cruz, or let's say even a Jojo Diaz, who put up a hell of a fight versus the WBC champion Devin Haney in Devin Haney's last fight. And those two fights could be a dangerous fight for Ryan Garcia. You know what I'm saying? A aggressive, come forward fighter like those two guys. Who are gonna be like pit bulls, who are not cool hands like Luke Campbell. And Ryan Garcia, hopefully, they work on his fundamental skills to not make mistakes like he did versus Luke Campbell. It's the fight game. Ain't nobody perfect, but like I said, Isaac Cruz would be a more riskier fight than Gervonta Davis, because at least Gervonta Davis is one of the most recognizable names in the sport of boxing right now. And to be honest, Ryan Garcia is going to go in that fight as the underdog. And if he gets in there with Isaac Cruz, and there's a big chance that Isaac Cruz can walk out the winner of that fight versus Ryan Garcia, that would be more of a shot to his career than losing to Gervonta Davis. So I think if you are on Team Ryan Garcia, you will want to campaign for a tank fight rather than more of a high risk, low reward fight like a Isaac Cruz. What y'all gonna have him face? Yuriorkis Gamboa, Javier Fortuna, the fight that been was supposed to happen. Which most likely, I think that's what, Golden Boy and the Zone is going to push for. I don't think the Zone and PBC has ever, co-promoted a event. But I think for the sake of the sport, and, they're going to make a whole lot of money making the Ryan Garcia Tank Davis fight. So I think that's an opportunity that neither camp could pass up on. The contract's got to be right for it to happen. But, hopefully they can negotiate that and make that fight happen, because I think that's the fight boxing needs, and I think that's the fight that both fighters needs. Anyways, y'all let me know what y'all want to see Ryan Garcia what y'all want to see Ryan Garcia do next for his next fight. Who y'all want to see him get in there with? Comment, subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff, and I'm out, y'all. Peace.